Here at Johnson & Wales University, we have access to the Culinary Arts Museum. This museum showcases an American history of both American household food trends as well as the domestic restaurant industry. One exhibit that has always stood out to me is the diner section. There's just something about the character of the diner that's really just impossible to describe. The diner exhibit showcases two different styles of diners. One, the ever-ready diner car, as well as the Ember sit-down diner. To understand the diner more, we must examine the history of the diner trend. The diner trend began in the late 1910s and expanded into the Great Depression. The lunch car, or the diner, was a manufactured-type building similar to that of a mobile home, and began to boom during the Great Depression. The diner was a cheap and easy way to build a restaurant, especially for those wanting to begin their own business. This also meant that the diner was perfect for foreign immigrants to set their foot into the American dream. The diner served cheap, quick food as a treat to working-class Americans. This was just a short stop to make during your lunch break. Eggs, pancakes, and hamburgers were all staple American diner items. Not only was this a way to reduce the cost of food, but it also embraced a sole piece of equipment, which was the griddle. It also didn't have the need to hire many workers to staff the operation. The short-order cook, and sometimes the cashier, offered direct service to their customers. This is another reason why the diner continued to survive throughout the Great Depression. The sleek, metallic look was also embraced. The futuristic metal panels, as well as the bright-colored chairs, gave Americans a sense of optimistic hope for the futures ahead. But this was also a way to showcase the cheap materials used in the manufacturing process. The diner continued to leave its impact on the American people through the Second World War. One such depiction of this is in the Nighthawks painting. Though Edward Hooper's depiction of the characters' stories is still relatively debated, one thing is clear. The diner acted almost as an ongoing safe haven of American culture in a time of darkness. In spite of this, the diner was also used as a symbol of isolation. Many diners tended to operate 24 hours each and every day. Despite its reliable and infinite offer of hospitality, there are bound to be many times of emptiness after floods of prosperity. Yet again, this could also be used as a symbol of the American nationalism of the American people that persevered no matter the struggle. With the end of the Second World War came government spending on domestic and foreign relief investments. One such investment was domestically, the GI Bill. The GI Bill was designed to stimulate the American economy by giving World War II veterans a way to gain their education, which was a missed opportunity to many of those who were drafted for the war. The option was also given to those who didn't need an education, to either purchase a household or to take out a small interest loan, presumably to start a business. The low-cost, low-risk model of a diner was a perfect option for many aspiring restaurant owners at the time. This is where diners like the Embers come into play. In place of the mobile manufactured diner came the freestanding permanent diner. When someone says diner, this is typically what you would picture. This style of diner was similar to that of a lunch car, as well as that to a soda fountain. With more money to invest in equipment, came more items to be featured on a diner's menu. Two notable items were the milkshake machine, as well as the deep fryer. The griddle was still also a long-standing staple of the diner. Despite the increase in equipment spending, the menu items all stayed relatively cheap and relatively the same. As the nation continued to grow economically, more diners began to appear across the country. The popular Route 66-esque diner was a symbol of American tourism, as many would use the road as a main access to the West Coast. These vacations were also in lieu of an expanding economy. In addition to the GI Bill was NSC 68. NSC 68 was an executive spending budget designed to account for the atomic weapon and to increase American defense spending. The amount of spending was determined by the executive branch and the executive branch alone. This gave the president the power to invest in domestic infrastructure spending, such as highways. What ultimately brought in the ideal of the diner is what brought it to its demise. With the increase of highway spending came fast food drive-ins. Quick food without leaving the car? What could be any easier? Despite the growing decline in the diner with the growth of fast food, the image of the American highway diner still leaves many paintings on American culture. To this day, there are still several of those American classic roadside lunch cars. In fact, as of this video, here in Providence is the Seaplane Diner as well as West Side Diner. In spite of its growing scarcity, the painting of the American diner is bound to stay in American culture. If you want to learn more about the diner trend, or just want to see some of the sources that I use on this video on their own, feel free to check out the description down below. I hope that by watching this, you learned something about the diner trend, or just the impact that the diner has had on the American people. If you liked the video, feel free to give a thumbs up and subscribe. If you have a question, or just want to share an experience that you've had at a diner before, feel free to leave a comment. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.